Okay, in assignment 19, we're going to be using equations that are still in slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. And we're going to be taking these equations and we're going to learn how to transfer that information to the graph. The information being the y-intercept, which is your b number or your constant we talked about, and your slope, which of course is rise over run. Okay? So when we go to graph these equations, first you want to make sure that y is by itself on one side of the equal sign. If y is by itself, then it is in fact in slope-intercept form, which makes them easy to graph. Our first point is always going to be the b number. So what I like to say is we're always going to begin with the b number. And the b number is the constant. That's the easiest number to find. It's the number that doesn't have a variable with it. So the b number in this problem is 5. And the slope, the number that's in the m position, is this number here in front of x. Not including the x, just the number in front, which in this case would be -1. When we go to graph it, we need the fraction version of this. Just for graphing, you need the fraction version. So we're going to make this -1 into a fraction by putting a 1 underneath it. Remember, you can make any number into a fraction by putting a +1 underneath it. And I say +1 for a reason. You'll see. So on the graph, the first point always goes on the vertical axis. Not the horizontal axis, the vertical axis, which is the y-axis. Okay, not just off of it, but right on it. So my first point is going to be at +5 on the y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So right there. Then from that point, I'm going to use my slope, rise over run, to find additional points. So from this point, don't go back to the origin anymore. Start from here. I'm going to rise -1, that means go down, and I'm going to run +1, which means go to the right. -1, +1, -1, +1, -1, +1. And then once you get a few points that you're able to see where the line would be, then go ahead and just connect them on both sides. And then make sure you draw your arrows, which means this line goes on forever. Number 3. The b number, where we begin at, is the constant. The constant is 2. The slope is 2 over 5. Don't let the fraction scare you. Slope is designed to be a fraction. Rise over run. Where am I going to begin at? I'm going to begin at 2 on the vertical axis. From here, I'm going to rise over run. +2, up 2, +5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right there. Now, if I wanted points on the other side, I could throw all of this in reverse. So instead of going up 2 and right 5, I could also go down 2 and left 5. And see, these points are going to line up. Draw your arrows on the ends. Easy peasy. Okay. Number 6. My b number is the constant, which is -5 in this case, because of the subtraction sign means that 5 is negative. And my slope is -3/2. I'm going to begin with my b number at -5, so this time I'm going to go down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this slope is -3/2. So the way I want you to treat that is either -3 over +2 or 3 over -2. Either way is okay. So -3 over 2 means I'm going to go down 3 and over 2, but I'm out of graph. So instead of going down 3 and right 2, I'm going to go up 3 and left 2. And I can keep doing that. And now I have enough to draw my line. The slope was negative, so I should get a line that's going down, and I sure did get a line that's going down. Okay? Okay, look at number 8. No, let's do number 7. The slope is -4 and the b number is the constant, but there is no constant. Therefore, your b number is 0, which means my first point is going to be right here at the origin. And then from there, my slope is -4 over 1. It wasn't a fraction, so I made it a fraction. So down 1, 2, 3, 4, and +1. -4, +1. Or I could go up 4 and back 1. And I'm going to get these points to line up. Okay. Now, number 8 is just a little more difficult because it's out of order. The y is still by itself, so that's good. This is why I said identify the b number first. It's the constant. Well, the constant in this problem is -3, which means the only other number that's left has to be your slope, which is 5, which I need to be a fraction. So 5 over 1. So I'm going to begin with my b number at -3, and then I'm going to rise 5 and run 1. And that gives me enough to graph it. So just a good idea is to identify the b number first because it's the constant. It's the number without a variable. And if it's written backwards, then it's easier to spot that way. And then you won't get the numbers confused. Well, what if it's not in slope-intercept form? Look at 13. We need to make this in slope-intercept form, which means we need to solve for y. If I'm getting y by itself, I'm going to minus 4x here, and I'm going to minus 4x here. That leaves me with 3y equals 21 minus 4x. Now remember to divide both sides, divide everything by 3, which gives me the y by itself. Now remember this part, if you can divide it, then divide it. If not, then leave it. 21 divided by 3 is 7, and this will not divide, so I'm just going to leave it like that. Now that I have y by itself, the b number is the constant. What's the constant? It's 7, which means the other number has to be your slope, which in this case is -4 over 3. Going to my graph, I'm going to begin with my b number on the y-axis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and from there I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 3. There is the line that I graphed. So what's important to know about this problem is that you cannot graph it until it's in slope-intercept form. Okay? So not until it's in slope-intercept form can you graph it. Okay? We'll work one more. 15, y is not by itself. I need to get y by itself, so I'm going to minus 2x and minus 2x, and that leaves me with 3y equals 0 minus 2x. Well, when I divide by 3, I'm left with y equals 0 over 3. 0 divided by 3 is 3, and that won't divide, so I'm just going to leave it. My b number is the constant, which is 0, and my slope is -2/3, the number in front of x. So I really didn't even need to write this 0, but I did to show you that in this case, I'm going to begin at 0, and then from there I'm going to rise -2 and run 3. Or I can go up 2 and back 3. All right, that's how we graph equations. If they're in slope-intercept form, go ahead and graph them. If they're not, then convert them to slope-intercept form and then graph them. Okay, that is assignment 19.